When Justine Ruszczyk was shot dead by the very police she had called for help, her devastated family had to rely on complete strangers to put her murderer behind bars. This is how those two prosecutors convinced the jury Mohammed Noor was guilty.
She was an Aussie girl who grew up surrounded by love. And she gave so much love in return, becoming a vet caring for animals before travelling.
And even in India, she donated her time as a vet to a animal refuge.
That's where Justine Ruszczyk's spiritual journey began.
Did a lot of soul searching through those years. So she travelled through India, she spent a year in the Alps, just in nature.
She found solace in meditation, and it centred her.
And at a meditation retreat, Justine crossed paths with Don Damond, an American man, soon to be her fiance.
The sun was coming over the fog, and it was just a perfect morning. And I asked her to marry me, and it's just a day I'll never forget.
The Sydney woman's new neighbours in a leafy suburb of Minneapolis, Minnesota, saw just what Don did, a kind heart.
I've got them in my stash.
This video of her rescuing ducklings went viral.
I love that video. It's so good. She came home that night and she said, "I just reached utopia."
It's this man, former Minnesota cop Mohammed Noor, who turned Justine's wedding plans into a funeral. Outside court, Noor has never explained why he pulled the trigger.
Now I'll ask the defence to come forward to the podium.
Yet when it came to his last chance at begging for mercy, Mohammed Noor did have something to say.
I don't want to lose my family. I don't want to be absent from my son's life, regardless of what I want, regardless of what I fear. I have to accept that I caused this.
You have stolen my daughter and ripped her from our arms.
Father John Ruszczyk, brother Jason Ruszczyk and other family from Australia didn't travel to the US for his sentence, so didn't hear his words until the world broadcast proceedings with the judge's permission.
I have lived with this, and I'll continue to live with this. I caused this tragedy, and it is my burden.
We fought as hard as we could for Justine Ruszczyk and her family.
I want to respond both to the comments that...
Amy Sweezy and Patrick Lofton have been the prosecutors on this case since the beginning.
He shot way too quickly. He did not sit there and take the time to appreciate the situation, to identify a target, to identify a threat. The defendant fired his gun.
The prosecution team's work paid off. They asked the judge for a sentence of 150 months, and that's what he got, 12.5 years prison.
Mr. Noor testified that he saw Ms. Ruszczyk, noticed the color of her hair and her pajama top, saw her right arm raised, aimed his weapon across his partner, and shot her.
Noor's story has always been that his shift partner, Officer Harity, couldn't get his gun out of the holster and that's why he shot Justine. Do you believe him? Do you buy his story?
No. We don't believe that. First of all, Officer Harity didn't share that opinion. He was asked that also, whether he had any trouble getting it out.
And this is what another officer's body cam recorded Harity saying moments after the shooting.
We pulled up here. We were about ready to just clear and go to another call. She just came up out of nowhere on the side of the thing. We both got spooked. I had my gun out. I didn't fire it, and Noor pulled out and fired.
It could not have been that both Officer Harity's story and Mr. Noor's story were accurate because they were so very, very different.
One thing that's never been resolved through this case is the sexual assault that Justine heard. Was there ever a sexual assault?
Unfortunately, no, we may never know and probably will never know whether there was a sexual assault victim in that alley or what it was she heard.
God damn the people that use lies to convict black men.
Both the guilty verdicts and the sentence sparked protests in this American city, with so many feeling it was Noor's skin colour that got him locked up.
We're disappointed, but not defeated. Blind justice. Lies, lies, and on top of lies.
When a case can be made that they should be prosecuted no matter what their race is.
Justine, my daughter, was killed by a bullet fired by an agent of the state. I don't understand.
Noor will almost certainly appeal his sentence. For others involved in this case, nothing will make it better.
I miss you so much, every day.
Along with that jail term, Noor was fined $6,000 US.